Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
It's funny that you say that because I felt like I looked like a ghost on yesterday's recording.
Yesterday I didn't notice it. Today you look a little ghost-esque, but it's okay because this is a haunted episode.
And I'm fading into existence, apparently.
What? Jeez. She just got dark.
I did. Well, I'm a ghost, so, am I even really here?
Oh, gosh. Welcome to episode 87, question mark? Yes, exclamation point.
We're saying all of our punctuation now.
Yep, that's how it goes. Like I said, this is a haunted episode.
At some point, we're going to be on episode 400, and we're going to be like, not sure.
Yeah. At some point, we're going to stop numbering them. We'll just be like, this is the one, okay? Yeah. This is that one.
The one where we lose our goddamn minds.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell me a fun fact.
Dolphins refer to each other by name, scientists have figured out.
I have heard of this.
Super cool.
It is super cool. I watch a lot of
nature shows.
What is it called? Blue Planet?
Yeah.
BBC.
I love Blue Planet. Yeah. Yes. And they're not the only birds that, or they're not the only.
They are not birds.
They're not the only animals that do that. Crows do it as well.
I have heard that too.
So, well, it makes sense because think about it. The 5 smartest animals in the world, dolphins and crows, are in the top 5. So
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't?
What are the other 3?
Are in there too.
What else?
Well, might as well tell the world here.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Nick Amell, where's your list? Come on.
Smart. I wonder if he's done a smartest animals.
He hasn't. I've listened to them all.
Well, we need to bring this to his attention and say
he's done
that
smartest dog breeds, I believe.
We're coming on your show, Nick, and we're going to test you with the smartest animals. So, dolphins, ravens and crows, pigs, chimpanzees, and elephants. Yeah.
That saddens me so much because pig is definitely the tastiest animal.
I know, that's why I don't eat pork.
I can't live without pork. If I had to choose one meat in the whole world to eat, it would be pork. I like bacon. I like pulled pork. I like pork chops. I
did make an exception for the Bacon Hungry Howie's pizza that you gave me because that was fucking delicious.
Pork is good in every form.
Yeah. But that's why I don't eat it, if anyone was curious.
That's sad.
Because I feel real bad.
Yeah. I'm sorry, pig.
So sorry. Yeah, especially after you were like, I want to take that pig home when we were at the...
Oh, they are so cute.
Festival, the Corn Maze Festival.
They're also so tasty.
Sierra made a best friend with a little black and white pig. He was real cute.
Listen, I can differentiate between food and friends.
Pets, and yeah, that's true.
And still not feel bad. Like, I want chickens as pets. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop eating chickens. I still like the taste of them. I'm not going to eat the ones that are my friends. But also, humans need protein.
I asked
Chickens
Kevin
have protein.
if I could have a chicken coop if we moved and we had property. And one of our top favorite places that we found has a chicken coop already in the backyard. And I'm like, see? It's meant to be. It's the cutest backyard ever. And he eats eggs all the time, so I'm like, we could have our own eggs. Why not?
Eggs delicious.
Have chicken besties and eggs every day. I'm down with that.
Down.
And, yeah, my grandma has chickens, and she refers to them as her babies, which is the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
If you have chickens as pets, let us know, or pigs.
Everyone that I've known who has chickens also had 10,000 other chickens. They were not pets. They were bred.
You know what, Sierra? Stop trying to bring me down the chicken farm rabbit hole.
I am sorry, but bringing down is what this episode is going to be.
Oh, is it
very
sad
sorry.
haunted episode?
It's very sad.
So we need sangria is what you're telling me?
Well, first you need a fun fact.
Yeah, you need a fun fact first. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm here.
No, it's okay.
I'm really excited to drink the sangria.
My fun fact is that way back in the early 1900s, P.S. my kids tell people that I was born in the 1900s, and it stresses me out.
Hey, and on this show, like 18 times,
Technically,
you've been born in the 1920s. So
technically, I was born in the 1900s. 1993 is the 1900s.
Oh yeah, that's
but it
true.
depresses me. Anyway. Way back in the early 1900s.
Before was born, to clarify.
Yes. Before fire safety was well known, doctors and firefighters used to recommend people to put wet clothes, blankets, or towels on themselves if they found themselves trapped in a fire. And if that wasn't possible, they'd recommend to take off all of your clothes so your clothes wouldn't catch on fire and then burn you. I know that clothing material was different then than it is now, but today, neither of these things are recommended, not even a little bit.
I was going to say that does kind of make sense, though, because your clothes will burn to your skin. Like, I've seen that in hospitals.
But firstly, it is very much recommended to just get out of the fire as soon as possible. Clothes or no clothes. Don't pay attention to the clothes. Leave. That's what you do. You leave. Secondly,
my favorite
definitely do not make your clothes wet on purpose because the clothes can heat up and then the steam will burn you. And
so the wet
don't take your clothes off.
I've seen this.
No,
in movies.
you get a fire blanket, not a wet blanket. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's been in Grey's Anatomy. Mm-hmm, not a thing. Mm-hmm, don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, don't listen to Grey's Anatomy. Noted.
Nope. Don't take your clothes off because your clothes actually protect you from the embers and the flames. A lot of clothes today are fire resistant, so you don't have to worry. I mean, they can still catch on fire, but a lot of clothes are made fire resistant, so just don't worry about it, okay?
Unless you have to.
If your clothes do catch on fire, stop, drop, and roll. Put the fire on your body out, get away from it, and then you can wet yourself with water and urine if necessary. Wet yourself, okay? Also, since I know that people will be deep frying turkeys in the near future, please remember that grease fires should not be extinguished with anything except for suffocation in a fire extinguisher. No water, no flour, no baking powder, no sugar, only a fire extinguisher or suffocating the flames with metal because a glass will shatter. So, that's my PSA for the day. It's Fire Safety Week at the kids' school.
I figured that that's what was happening here, but it's good advice because think about it. When was the last time we learned fire safety in school?
Right? Yeah.
So, I'm sure all of our listeners are adults. If you're not, turn this off immediately. But that's good. It's a good little reminder.
It is a good reminder.
Speaking of grease fires, my mom started a grease fire when she was like 14 once, and this was the times where they didn't teach fire safety in school, and she didn't know that. So she threw water on it, and it lit my grandma's curtains on fire.
Yeah.
Fire got bigger.
I have known multiple people, and they do teach fire safety, that tried to wet a grease fire and it got worse. Yeah, don't do that, guys.
I guess your
no water
logic
on grease.
kind of goes out the window when you panic, too. But
right. You see fire, opposite of fire equals water. You're like, oh God, where's the water?
My grandma was pissed.
Yeah.
At least they were okay and the house didn't burn down.
That's good. Well, this is not the last of us talking about fire today, and I'm telling you.
Also, wouldn't recommend that you put out fire with sangria either. I think alcohol is a fire starter.
Yeah. We are going to touch on fire again a little bit later, and it's not going to be fun. So, before we get there, let's have some fun with this sangria.
Well, it sounds like we're going to need it.
We are going to need it. Today, we are drinking our Chardonnay from last week, mixed with just a couple ingredients. I found this recipe. So, one of our listeners recommended a Chardonnay that I couldn't find, so I found a different one instead. The bees, I had to do it. Anyway,
save the bees.
Right. So then I found a sangria that went with Chardonnay that was also fall related. And it was not easy to find. I had to find something that was fall and Chardonnay, and I don't think those things usually mix.
Yeah,
and
Chardonnay
sangria.
is usually like sitting on a patio in the summer.
Yeah. So the closest thing I found was a mimosa recipe. And it is a little fall-esque. It's got orange juice, the Chardonnay, grapes, and a pear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've put a pear in a recipe yet.
We've never put pear in a recipe, and that makes me even sadder because I couldn't find pears here.
Yeah, but you have pear juice, right?
I do have pear juice, yeah.
At least you'll get that flavor.
Yeah, so mine is probably a little, well, I'm drinking it in the beautiful glass that Sierra gave me, so you can't see it anyway, but mine is a paler color because of it. Yours is very mimosa-y.
Yeah.
And let's face it, mimosas are good year-round, so what would you rate this one?
I think I'm gonna give it... It's very good. It's very...
refreshing.
Plain to me. It's
simple.
Very... Yes, simple. It doesn't... I wished... I found myself, like, looking around to my kitchen, like, what herbs can I put in this?
What?
I just wanted to add some sort of spice to it.
Would rosemary have been good, do you think? I don't know why.
I don't
That was
know.
the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, basil was the first thing that came to my mind, but I'm
basil
like
is
loving
really
my basil plant right now. So
I am too.
I don't know. It's good. I think I'm gonna go with just an average 7. It's not bad at all. It tastes like a normal mimosa to me.
I love mimosas, so I'm gonna give it an
mimosa's
8.
great. It tastes like a mimosa without the bubbles.
Without the bubbles, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought you said rubbles, and I was like, excuse me. Also, for our YouTube watchers, I'm sorry if you see me eating zucchini periodically here. I'm eating my dinner, okay? It's been a week.
Okay, so we are going to get into all of this crazy stuff after we take a quick break to hear a promo from Sips of Crime. Okay, now we're back. So today I am telling you a story about a place in Atlanta that we almost went to, but we didn't have enough time. There's so many things that I still wanted to do that we didn't have enough time.
That'll forever be the problem.
Right. This is the Ellis Hotel.
Yeah, I'm sad I didn't get to see it in person, especially knowing that you were going to cover this.
Right.
Not wanting to know anything about it, but just wanting to see. So.
Yes.
But it sounds like you got photos for me, so.
This is one of those stories that... This is going to be one of those haunted episodes where the story is longer than the hauntings, but it's worth it.
Ooh, okay.
So...
Love a good history.
Yes, that's what it is. In 1913, the Winecoff Hotel was built in downtown Atlanta at 176 Peachtree Street.
Stop. That's adorable.
Yes. It was 15 stories tall and was built right next door to a Davison's. Today, Davison's department stores are known as Macy's.
Oh.
But at the time, Davison's, particularly this Davison's, was a top-notch department store and a, quote, classic example of downtown shopping experience, end quote.
Thank you.
So, Winecoff Hotel was like the place to stay in Atlanta. It was the happeningest place. Even today, the Ellis Hotel is right in the heart of all the famous Atlanta tourist destinations. Staying there, you could walk to the World of Coca-Cola, the Georgia Aquarium, the Centennial Olympic Park, and the Center for Civil and Human Rights, according to their website. Or you could stay in your hotel room and get entertainment from the many ghosts that are said to be hanging around.
Next time I come and visit, we'll spend a night there.
Yeah. Of course, downtown Atlanta is very historic and haunted in itself, but the hotel is especially so. As I've already stated, sadly, before we get into the haunting, we are going to get into the enormous tragedy that happened at this hotel. A tragedy in itself so seemingly twisted that it could be its own episode, minus the hauntings. I listened to a book about the tragedy, and I literally had to be careful about where I was listening to it, because I would just start crying listening to it.
Oh my god. That says a lot. Actually, it doesn't say a lot, though, because everything makes us cry, but also,
Right.
we have big hearts, so it had to have been a big thing.
Yep. So, as I alluded to in the beginning, the tragedy that this hotel experienced was a fire. And in an ironic Titanic-like situation, the hotel was often advertised as being, quote, absolutely fireproof, unquote.
It's a total Titanic situation.
Yeah. In the early 1900s, safety wasn't a legal standard. Sprinklers and fire alarms existed, but they were not required in any buildings. I think it's safe to say, no pun intended, that people preferred to stay in places with these safety features.
Mm-hmm.
Not needing those safety features because it's a fireproof hotel seems pretty safe also.
Mm-hmm. Also,
they didn't know any better.
Statement.
Yeah. But just like the unsinkable ship had the iceberg, the Winecoff had a cigarette dropped on the floor next to a mattress in the hallway, next to the only stairwell that went from the first floor all the way up to the 16th, which, by the way, was actually the 15th level, because we don't have 13 floors in America.
We don't have... No, I don't think any hotel has a 13th floor.
Yeah, so...
Correct us if we're wrong. If you know of a hotel somewhere, let us know.
Or, yeah, anywhere in the world. Like, it's not even just hotels here. Like, even, like, a lot of apartment buildings won't do it. Oddly.
I've seen that, too. My mom and dad's building doesn't have a 13th floor.
Yeah. It just skips 12, 14.
But then it's like you're still technically on the 13th floor.
Right, I know.
You're just not calling it number... It's a whole other problem.
Yes. So... Unfortunately, even though the structure of the building was fireproof, the interior, everything inside from the mattress to the wallpaper, were the opposite of fireproof. And there were no sprinklers, no fire alarms, no fire escapes. One stairwell, like I mentioned, and one old cage elevator. The hotel was also filled to capacity.
I'm stressed.
There were a total of 195 rooms at the Winecoff, and every single one was booked. In those 195 rooms were 280 registered guests. That included families on vacations, soldiers home for leave, businessmen in town for a month-long work trip, and even multiple high school students on field trips, packing into one-bed bedrooms with multiple sleeping bags on the floor. And again, the 280 is just registered guests. I don't know how honest people were back then, but I definitely do not tell the hotel when, I am staying with my whole family in my room. I don't register all of us. I just say I need a room. So it was 3:15 a.m. on December 7th, 1946, when a bellboy who had been on the 5th floor realized he could not get back down. He was up there because some rowdy soldiers were being too loud and kept waking a baby in a nearby bedroom. The baby's parents called down multiple times, asking someone to quiet the soldiers, and so the bellboy went up to talk with them. Once he had finished, he noticed that the stairwell was full of smoke, and he could see flames rising from the lower levels.
That whole incident is the most 1920s thing I've ever heard, by the way.
Right. Well, it's 1946, but yes, it does sound 1920s.
Babies crying.
Mm-hmm. The cause of the fire is technically still unknown. Because of the aftermath, the hotel owners and management wanted the cause of the fire to be arson, so they wouldn't be at fault for the damages. And the families of the victims wanted the cause to be an accident, so the business would be held accountable. But for the most part, it seemed to be decided on that the fire was actually believed to be started by a cigarette dropped near a mattress. The mattress, like I said earlier, was sitting in the hall on the 3rd floor, right next to the only stairwell in the building. Everyone above the 3rd floor was trapped as the fire rose, and anyone on the bottom 2 floors would need to be woken up and warned to get out, since there were no smoke alarms. The fire department was called and they showed up right away since the fire department was only right down the street. But again, the inside of this place was the opposite of fireproof. I'm pretty sure they said they had like burlap wallpaper. Like, it's flammable, okay?
I can't even picture what that looks like, and it sounds horrible.
Yeah. With the elevator shaft in the middle of the building, allowing oxygen in to fuel the fire, the inside of the building was up in flames in minutes, and everyone who woke up and realized this had to act very fast. The people on the lower levels were mostly able to escape, either down the stairs and out the front door, out the windows. But for a while, the fire department only showed up with one aerial ladder to pass around the outside windows. With only one ladder, some guests got anxious that the fire would get to them before the ladder did. And on top of that, even the tallest aerial ladders only reached to the 8th floor. So everyone on floors 9 through 15 had to either make a sheet rope down to the 8th floor, wait out the fire, or jump. So the fire department decided to get out a net, see if they can save.
Not the tallest floor, right?
No, the 8th is as high as the ladder goes.
Okay.
Yep, 9 through 15 is above that. 15 total. The fire department decided to get a net out to see if they could save, even just one or two people if they did get impatient and try to jump. Honestly, that idea made things so much worse. The net was only strong enough to withstand the force of someone dropping from about 3 stories, but it gave all of the rest of the fire victims a false sense of safety.
No.
Multiple people began jumping, sometimes at the same time, and the fire department couldn't move the net to catch the people because they didn't know where they were jumping from.
Oh my God.
Some people threw their luggage out of their windows just to get the attention of the ladder operator, and then the luggage would hit the net, or the net holders, the people holding the net, or even the victims in the net. The fire department had to...
Luggage coming from a floor that high? Like, that do some damage. Oh my God, my eyes are watering.
Oh, well, you're about to start crying. So, the fire department had to dodge falling things while trying to save falling people and without being able to see up into the sky because of all of the smoke. Some people jumped from so high that the net stretched and hit the ground. Some people didn't make it into the net at all. Most people who jumped didn't survive. And for a few of them that did, people who had died from the fall broke their falls. Oh. So they were landing on top of dead bodies.
My God.
As the fire grew, more rescuers from different cities were being called in to help. More than 40 fire trucks were on scene at one time, with 32 of them blasting water on the hotel, 4 of them using aerial ladders to save as many people as they could in the higher rooms, 6 of them with small service ladders for the lower rooms, 1 with a giant floodlight, 1 for salvage and rescue. But the extra firefighters didn't help. The fire was too big, and the guests were too afraid. As if things couldn't get even worse, there was another tall, high-rise building right next door to the Winecoff Hotel, called the Mortgage Guarantee Building. The buildings were so close together that a fire truck couldn't even get into the alleyway that separated them. It was only 10 feet. People with windows on that side of the building were desperate and confident, unfortunately, that they could jump from their window into the window across from them in the other building, hoping to smash into it and only receive some cuts and bruises. But in the unlit alley, they couldn't tell that those windows across from them were wired glass, so it would have been impossible to break them. It was also so dark that one right after another couldn't tell that multiple others had already tried and failed to reach across the 10-foot alleyway. That alley was littered with bodies.
Insert heavy blink noise here. I don't know what to do with that info. That is heartbreaking.
Yeah, there was... I don't remember if I wrote it later, or if I decided to take it out.
Because you already knew that Alicia would be crying at this point, and all of us.
Yeah, one of the victims who jumped hit like a sign from the building or from another building, and the sign was held up by cables.
Oh my god.
And they were like impaled by the cables. Yeah.
This is the Titanic of land.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking tragedies. My god.
Yeah. In the end, 119 people died. Over 100 were injured. I am going to tell you about a few of the people who stayed at the hotel, both victims and survivors. There's a book that I read about this called Winecoff Fire, The Untold Story of America's Deadliest Hotel Fire by Sam Hayes and Alan B. Goodwin. And it talks about every single victim and survivor that the writers could get information on. I highly suggest reading it. It is great information. It's so personal. If you ever thought yourself to be a victim first kind of person when it comes to true crime or, you know, twisted shit, this is the book for you. But also, like I said, it's fucking sad. I cried the whole time because the writers tell you all these things about these families and then they died.
Yeah, so you fall in love with them.
It's really fucking sad.
Oh my god.
But I am going to tell you about a couple stories that stuck out to me. One room held a man named Dr. Cox and his wife Billy, their son Bobby, and a doctor's assistant Delilah Chambers. They were up on the 10th floor, I believe, and again the ladder could only go to the 8th. Dr. Cox made a sheet rope so that they could get down from 10 to 8 to the ladder, and he allowed for his assistant to go first. By the way, this is where I found my fun fact from earlier. This doctor was the one who was like, take your clothes off, it'll be easier. And I looked it up and I was like, you're supposed to take your clothes off in a fire? And everything was like, contrary to what people used to believe, don't fucking do that.
My first reaction is to never just take my clothes off anyway. But...
Well, I mean, it's fucking hot, so I can see why you're like, oh, get these clothes off me. I'm literally burning.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fucking hot. But it protects your skin.
Good to know.
So Dr. Cox made the sheet rope and allowed for his young assistant to go first. She was scared, but she was strong, and she made it down the sheet rope all the way to the ladder and then down to the ground safely.
That's good.
His wife went second. Billy, unfortunately, the wife, was too weak. The writers of the book assumed it was probably because she had just had a miscarriage a few weeks prior.
Oh.
She just wasn't at full stamina, but like, even worse. Sadly, as she was trying to climb down the sheet rope, she lost her grip and fell to the ground. Dr. Cox watched his wife fall, and instead of trying to get down, decided to jump. Because
he knew she was dead?
Mm-hmm.
Or because...
He jumped out the window, carrying his baby son. Right before he crashed to the ground, he tossed his baby into the net and saved the baby's life. Dr. Cox and his wife died together. But the baby survived.
Oh my god. I thought you were gonna... Okay, well, I feel like that's a silver lining in that story. Oh.
The next one is not so silver. A mother, father, and their 2 children, 4 and 2, were on their way to Florida for a vacation. Their father had been sick, and the doctor suggested that southern air would help him get better. They were on floor 10 as well, and they were trying to wait for someone to save them. They didn't want to jump or climb or anything. They were just hoping the fire would be put out. As the fire got bigger and the air got hotter, they started to get impatient, and then an explosion erupted on a floor just below them, and they decided they would rather take their chances with jumping than to be burned alive. The mother threw the children out of the window towards the net, and then she and her husband jumped together. All 4 of them missed the net.
I think this is going to be time like 810 that I quit the podcast. Oh my God.
87. Time 87.
Yeah.
87th episode. 87
No, but divided by 2
quit.
because it's just your episodes that I quit the podcast.
Yeah.
No, Sierra's a great storyteller. This kind of stuff needs to be told, but oh my God, it hurts my heart.
Yeah. The builder of the hotel was William Fleming Winecoff, 76 years old. He and his wife Grace, also 76, lived up there on the 10th floor of the hotel ever since he built the place. Unfortunately, both of them died that night as well. He in the hallway of smoke inhalation, and she after attempting to climb down a sheet rope and dropping to the ground. The final person I'm going to tell you about is Daisy Bell McCumber, also known as the Jumping Lady. As the morning went on that day, spectators started showing up to see what the commotion was about, but most of them didn't stay very long because watching people fall to their death is horrific. One man that came by...
What could you have done? Well, I mean, like, could you have gone up to the adjacent buildings and, like... Oh.
No, because it wasn't close enough.
I don't...
It's
like,
still 10 feet.
When you were saying that, I was trying to picture if, like, the idea of jumping 10 feet. Like, that's far.
Right.
Like, I don't think I could jump the distance of Kevin, and Kevin's 6'5", so it's like...
Right. When you're looking at the 2 buildings next to each other, they look really close together. But when you're standing at the bottom of one and you're trying to reach to the other one, it's ridiculously far. Mm-hmm. There was literally, someone did a video on it. Like, when you look up at buildings that are really tall, they look like they're starting to lean together. But they're not. It's just an illusion.
So the height would have being on the opposite end would have the same optical illusion to you.
Right. So one man that came by that night was Arnold Hardy, an amateur photographer.
No.
He only had 7 flashes left for his camera, and he took 7 pictures. After taking photos, he allegedly tried to help save some people by breaking into the pharmacy and stealing supplies. He was arrested for this, but the pharmacy owner refused to press charges or even accept back the money for the damages to the store. Back to the jumping girl. The 7 photos that Arnold took, he said, were meant to capture the desperation that he noticed in the victims of the fire. And the one that did that the best was a photo, the final of his 7 photos, of Daisy Bell McCumber, mid-fall, after jumping from the flames on the 11th floor.
I don't want to see.
You don't see any dead bodies or anything.
No, I know, but that's heartbreaking because I know she did die.
She didn't.
Oh, she didn't? Oh, thank God.
Don't worry. Don't worry. It is sad, but she lived, I promise. So that is the photo that Arnold snapped, the last photo that he took. That is the jumping girl is what it's called. It's a photo of Daisy Bell McCumber. She's 41 years old. She jumped from the 11th floor, feeling like there was nothing else she could do. It was right after one of the explosions in the lower floors. The awning that you can see right here actually broke her fall, so she did survive the fall. She landed on the awning, fell through, and honestly, that's probably the only reason she lived. Mm-hmm. She had numerous breaks and fractures in her arms, pelvis, and legs. Eventually, she had to have one of her legs amputated, but she did survive. She lived to be 84 years old, and all the while, she was working a desk job from a wheelchair. She's fucking badass.
I was gonna say, she is a badass.
Yeah.
Is she wearing a hat, or is that a shadow above her?
I think it's her hair just flying above her.
Just like a shadow. It's not like, obviously, 1940s. It's not an amazing photo, right? But it looks like a little tiny hat on my side.
This photo won a Pulitzer Prize in 1947, the year after it was taken, because, all of the world agreed that it captured the desperation of the victims there that day. There is one more picture that I want to show you before I continue. It's another one taken that night by Arnold. These are the only two that have been, publicized. And that is this one. This is looking up at the hotel. This is as far as the ladder reached. So this is level 8. And you can see people are putting sheet ropes down, just trying to make it to the ladder. You can see faces of people looking down, begging to be saved by these ladders.
Yeah, it's intense.
It is intense.
How many people were staying at the hotel that night? Did you already say?
280. 40 of which were high school students.
I don't want to know.
They were on a trip. They were the 40 brightest students of Georgia. They were all on a field trip together. Only 10 of them lived.
Oh, don't put that many American heroes in one room. Fuck.
Right. So the pictures are sad and horrific, but again, the point was to show the desperation going through these people's minds, and it helped and worked because after the fire was finally out and it was time for someone to answer up for this tragedy, these pictures were in the minds of all of the people who didn't already see this happen, with their own eyes. And laws were changed. Many of the fire code laws we have today, we owe to these photos. So many people lost their lives and lost their loved ones, and many more would die in the coming months and years due to the stress of the trauma they endured, depression of losing their loved ones. A lot of people completed suicide after this. Some people had stress from survivor's guilt. Some people died to their physical injuries after they didn't get better.
Self-medicating, I imagine.
Yeah, some victims couldn't be identified. And at least 2 girls who were friends were buried together simply because their parents couldn't tell them apart.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they were in the same room together. It was 2 of the high school students. They were in the same room together. They knew it was that room that their children were in, but they couldn't tell which one was which. So they just buried them with each other.
At least they're not alone.
Yeah, one gravestone, 2 students. At the time of the tragedy, the mayor called in experts for identifying what caused the fire, but it was kind of probably a publicity stunt so that no one blamed him for not having stricter laws about, calling a place fireproof when you don't have any safety measures in place. The initial report was, as I said earlier, that it was an accident, started with a cigarette dropped near a mattress because smoking was allowed indoors.
That's also disgusting. Have you ever stayed somewhere where it used to allow smoking?
Yeah, it smells awful forever.
Awful.
Yeah.
The hotel I stayed in before I left you was one of those hotels.
Oh, no.
The mattress, the decorative blanket they put at the end of your bed at hotels, that had cigarette burns on it.
Ew.
I told you this was a murder hotel. It was not exaggerating.
You should not have stayed.
I know. If it wasn't for the 5 hours, I would not have. But it was clearly one of those hotels because it smells. You can still smell cigarettes.
Yeah.
Wild to me.
Yeah, even especially in, hotels back then, there was a casino in this hotel. So, of course, people were smoking. They were drinking, and yeah. Later, though, when the survivors and victims of the families sued, that's when the rumors started to swirl that a person, and not the hotel, was responsible. Some rumors included a murder cover-up, though there were no signs of a murder found, but also everything was burned, so, how would it be? Another said that a soldier whose wife was in the hotel cheating on him lit a match and threw it in. Some say that an unhoused man who was mad did it. Some say that some teen boys were outside just throwing matches around. It was an accident. They did it. The one that seems the most reasonable to me, if it's not an accident, is that there was some mob control over the hotel. And it doesn't go deep into that theory, but apparently there was some mobsters who had, taken over that part of the area, and they were controlling the hotel at the time. And either them or a rival mob group set it on fire to tie up loose ends.
I mean, whoever started it, if somebody started it, I hope they stub their toe often. God damn it.
Well, there's a possibility that if someone did start it either on purpose or an accident and they were drunk and they were in the fire or in the hotel, they might have died.
Yeah.
Not very many people survived.
Yeah. I love that you have your tiny spoon to stir your sangria also.
It's also wooden, so I was like, maybe this one won't be as loud when I scoop my fruit.
It's so cute. That's so smart. I have one of those. I remember drying it at your house after I used it for something. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going to do that. That's so smart.
So I would hate to think that this was anything more than an accident.
Yeah.
But according to the book that I read, many people investigated the scene after that initial investigation and noticed that there were specific areas of the same hallway carpet that burned more than others. And although not all of the carpet caught fire, some of the elevator's metal melted.
No.
These people who investigated this believe that the fire should spread equally if there's an equal chance of spreading. And it not spreading equally like this means that there was a flammable agent like gasoline used. I'm hoping this was an accident, a terrible tragedy, a sign of we just didn't know better at the time, and not someone did this on purpose, because that hurts my heart so much. So in thinking that this was an accident, I feel like, people running around like chickens with their fucking heads cut off, freaking out, trying to stay alive, spraying water on everything. A lot of them said that they were covering their mattresses in water and then propping it up against the door so that the watery mattress wouldn't allow flames to come in. I feel like all of that makes it so that the fire wouldn't spread equal anyway. Like, humans are the variable in this situation. Yeah. They're not making for an equal spreading.
Exactly.
So I hope no flammables were used, because that sucks.
That is.
Either way, the laws were changed, and a little bit of money was passed to the victims' families and survivors from the insurance, and the place shut down. It shut down, but it still stood there, because the outside was fireproof. It was made completely of steel, brick, and concrete. None of the outside burned at all.
That is haunting. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then 5 years later, a new hotel opened in the same place, just with the updated safety features. Mm-hmm. And nobody wanted to stay there because
shocking.
Everything was still so fresh. The whole just being downtown reminded people of bodies on the street.
Can I take back my request to stay there when I come to see you?
The hotel didn't last 10 years. That one. And then in the 60s, structure still there.
It was
a
60s.
quote-unquote Southern Baptist retirement home or nursing home opened up there as a apartment or, housing for them until they found themselves a new location in 1982. And then from 1982 until 2007, the place was completely empty. Only the shell was still there. The structural integrity. It was completely empty. And in 2007, the Ellis Hotel was opened as a historic boutique hotel. They did almost no updates, aside from the safety stuff. They wanted it to look the way it already looked. So it had the same carpets.
Memorialized.
Yes. Everything is the same. Obviously, the nursing home had changed things. Mm-hmm. So the Ellis Hotel has left it the way the nursing home had it, basically. Okay. Clearly, this place has a lot of energy. fire is energy, and the fire took the lives of so many people that it is probably a hot spot for paranormal activity.
No doubt.
But I've never seen it on any shows or videos, which is weird to me. I don't know if the hotel owners like don't want to remind people of the events that happened here, or maybe people aren't ghost hunting out of respect because it's such a sad location. I don't know. But what I do know is that I haven't seen a single paranormal expert, parapsychologist, or ghost hunter go into this place. All of the ghostly reports come from just normal, everyday guests, which is kind of better. Starting with the workers, of course. When the needed safety updates and renovations were first done, the workers would often misplace their tools or find them later in places they knew they had not been, and the tools should not have been. They also often hear footsteps or voices coming from rooms where there are no guests.
No, thank you.
Sometimes phone calls come into the front desk from the empty hotel rooms. As a guest, you might notice some spooky things as well. This place isn't too expensive to stay at, by the way. I'm sure it will be once some ghost hunters put it on TV, but for now it's not. If you want to stay there, or if you decide to stay there, you'll get the most activity on or near the anniversary, allegedly, which is December 7th.
Okay.
You could expect the elevators to do some creepy things, acting on their own, opening and closing when they want to, stopping on floors when the button wasn't pressed. Many guests have heard screams in the night or thought they smelled smoke. And many people hear a phantom smoke alarm going off at 2:48 a.m., which is the time that the fire is believed to start.
That's so creepy.
In some cases, ghostly figures are seen and heard making commotion in the hallways at night. And if you're just strolling by outside without staying in, look into the windows where some say they can see people in the windows that look as if they are screaming in pain.
Oh my God.
That one, to me, I feel like pain is a strong word. These are the words that were used, but I feel like pain is a strong word because there is not a single person reported that burned to death. All of them either died of smoke inhalation or they fell to their death.
Yeah.
So, luckily no one, burned to death. That's my, number one way I don't want to die is burning to death.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey?
Ouch.
It'd be slow and just awful.
Yeah. You can also visit the alley between the Ellis Hotel and the Mortgage Guarantee Building, where many people took a leap of faith as their very last decision in life. And that's this very sad story and haunting of the Ellis Hotel, formerly known as the Winecoff Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia.
That's
and I'm sorry
insane
that I shared this.
No, don't be. It was a great haunted story and a great piece of history that, like you said, is undertold, the story.
Yeah.
So
After
you did it.
I wanted to do this because I was looking up places, haunted places downtown for us to go to. And this was always on the list. This was one of the top 5 haunted places in all of Georgia. But I couldn't find any ghost hunters or ghost adventures or Destination Fear. No one had been there. And I was like, why? What is happening? And then I started reading the story, and then I saw there was a book, and literally the first page of the book I was crying.
If you drove by this place, you'd just be like, it's another
you would
hotel.
never know.
Never know.
Yeah.
It just looks like another hotel in a downtown core.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But man, it's sad. So
Holy
sad.
Shit.
This was, by the way, the last of, so it is known as the most deadly hotel fire in American history, but this was the last of a chain of really bad fires. The shirt factory fire, the Triangle Shirt Factory fire. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That was like a year before.
Covered that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a year before this. There was another hotel in Atlanta that had a bad fire before this. All of this stuff was happening. This was the deadliest and the one that was photographed. And luckily the one that they were like, okay, it is time to make a change. We're not doing this again.
Hey?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's so sad.
It's heartbreaking. So crazy, though. I can't ever picture anything being fireproof. That's what made me think of the cigarette burns on the hotel bed that I stayed at. Is like like a cigarette near a mattress. Like, you don't think that's something that could cause something like this, but Jesus.
The only thing that was fireproof was the structure. And I get wanting to tell people that your structure is fireproof, but skimping on the
details of what
safety features. Yeah, and it's not like the safety features weren't invented yet. They totally were.
Yeah.
They just weren't required by law in buildings built before a certain time.
Yeah.
So, like, if those people had known that this building is not actually fucking fireproof, they probably wouldn't have stayed there. They would have opted to stay somewhere that had the safety features.
Yeah.
But so many people, even, like, the survivors who were interviewed said, like, yeah, it was a safe hotel. Why would we stay anywhere else? This place was fireproof. And no, the fuck it wasn't.
That's so crazy. I'm glad you covered it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have words for that because it is really sad.
Sorry. It is so sad.
We'll definitely have to go and check it out because... Damn.
Yeah, I was hoping for more... I was hoping for a, professional ghost hunter or parapsychologist or whatever, paranormal expert to have covered it because I had learned so much about every person who was at that hotel in reading that book.
Yeah.
That I was like, I could probably identify these ghosts that you're talking to based on what I know. But there's no one ever speaks of a specific ghost. So
like seeing, yeah. Ooh.
Right. They don't talk about how one specific ghost does this and that or is in this area. Which is very
common and haunted.
Right.
Lore. Like you just
Right. It's all very generic.
Yeah, a veteran soldier, a maid that tucks you in.
Right.
So that's insane.
And this one, it's all, you hear things. You hear screams, you smell smoke.
Somebody is screaming and you're upset.
Right. Oh my God.
What?
Did you see?
Oh, you scared the shit out of me. I'm like...
You should be. I'm going to show you this video.
No! I don't want to see it.
It's not at this hotel, I don't think. It actually doesn't say what hotel it's at, but it's at a hotel, and it's terrifying.
I don't want to see.
It's a haunting.
I quit again.
You hit quit again.
Did I send you that video? Oh, my face is all like tear stained. Did I show you that video of the car crash? I think I shared it on our page a long time ago.
No.
Where it's like a car crash and then you see like something leave the car and like everybody in that crash died.
You know what's funny? Is there is when I did Fresno Nightcrawlers.
Yeah.
The episode of that TV show Fact or Faked.
Yeah.
I think is what it's called. That's not what it's called. Maybe it's called Fact or Faked. I don't know. It's a paranormal TV show. It's a paranormal TV show about, they look over the footage and tell you if it was real or if it was a hoax. Mm-hmm. And that's what they did for the Fresno Nightcrawler. And in that same episode, they do 2 per episode. In that same episode, they talk about one where it's a car crash and you can see a ghost leaving the scene of the car crash. I wonder if it's the same one that you're thinking of. That would be interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to find it for you right now. No!
You heard it already?
No, I'm not ready. I am upset. Stop it.
Okay, so this is a TikTok. It just says Ghost in Hotel. It's from 2000. It looks like 2003, so it wouldn't be this hotel for sure because this wasn't a hotel in 2003. But it doesn't say what hotel it was. It just says Ghost in Hotel. And it's showing a door. It's like security footage.
No.
It's showing a door in a hotel room. Hang on, let me turn off my light so you can see it without the glare.
No, thank you.
You have to see it. It's insane. And it's just crazy. You have to see. Ready? So, it has subtitles, but this guy is a security guard. He's going to check out this room. No one is supposed to be in it, but they're hearing screams coming from it. And he's like, what the fuck? And they're like, don't go in. We're going to call the cops. And he's like, no, someone could be hurt. They're like, please wait for the police. And he's like, no, someone could be hurt. I'm going in. Did you see that?
Oh my god. That was a full-blown shadow that just left that room.
Yes.
Can you share that? Share it on our thing.
Yeah, and then they show another one. He comes out. This is part 1. There's 2 parts. In part 2 of the video, he talks about how he comes out of the room, and he's like, you can hear him on his walkie-talkie. He's like, yeah, call the cops. We need the cops here. And he said that every piece of furniture inside of there was flipped upside down, and the shower was on. But nobody was in there. And I don't know if it's real or not. I'm crying right now. I don't know if it's real or not, but it's fucking terrifying. Hotels are scary. Sleeping is your most vulnerable state. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't sleep.
That's why I don't understand how they sleep on Destination Fear. I'll go and stay. I probably won't. But if I ever did stay in those things, I'm not sleeping. If we
go to New Orleans together, that we're staying one night at a haunted hotel.
Yeah, and I'm not sleeping.
Exactly.
I will not be asleep that night.
Jesse and Kevin will be asleep in the room, and you and I will be outside the room with our ghost box, like, fucking wide awake. Jesus Christ.
Terrifying.
No. Yeah, I have no words for that. Great job, though.
Thank you.
We will be staying there for a few hours.
We'll at least walk down the terribly sad alley and pay our respects.
Absolutely. We can bring some flowers and some good energy. Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the pretty crystals your children finds, or the rocks, painted rocks.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's heartbreaking. I'm really glad they've changed the laws.
Agreed.
Can't even imagine.
Also, fire safety, people.
Right? I'm like
Deep fried turkey days coming up.
In my head,
fire
I'm like,
safety.
Where are the sprinklers in my bedroom?
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been
wanting to get
about lately.
Because you lived in a condo, so you would have had that. But now you're
in a house. Well, we have smoke alarms, but yeah, we don't have sprinklers.
Yeah, I have 2 in my bedroom. That's good. Whether or not they work is another question.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, rest in peace to all of those people.
Yeah, there is a plaque. We'll post a picture of that as well. There's a plaque outside of the building now that is commemorating the 119 people who lost their lives that day. Again, read the book if you can stomach it, because as sad as it is, like, those people need to be...
You didn't read it?
Correct. I had it on audiobook. Yeah. But again, as sad as it is, those people's lives need to be talked about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Remind the people what it's called again.
It is called Winecoff Fire: The Untold Story of America's Deadliest Hotel Fire.
Is that coughed like COFT?
COFF. Wine COFF.
Insane. And we'll have that in our resources on the website, of course, too. But I will also add it to the show notes, because that is unbelievable. Were any of the survivors that you mentioned in the episode, people that were interviewed for the book?
Yes. A lot of the stories that the book wasn't written in a way that, like, there were interviews, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like...
Or, like, a memory
talking back and forth. Yeah. Right. But the two guys who wrote the book were reporters who had gone out and collected newspaper articles, had talked to people. They got information from everyone that they could, and included it in the book.
Yeah, I imagine some people wouldn't want to talk about that.
Right.
Wow. Well, I commend you as well, too, because I imagine that hurt your heart for quite a few days.
Yeah, I have been watching a lot of Friends lately. I literally just finished this story
that's the
today.
deck I have out today.
Oh, yeah. I literally just finished writing this story earlier today because I keep having to take a break from it. Like, okay, I need a minute. And the whole time I'm researching and writing, I have Friends on in the background as a little comic relief for myself. Yeah.
You're like, and I'm crying.
Yeah. It was hard. I listened while I was driving when I first put it on, and immediately I was like, this is not a driving book. I was like bawling in my car for no reason. I mean, clearly I had reason, but nobody else knew that.
Yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like, this is not a driving book.
Behind you, like, that poor woman. I hope she's okay.
Yeah, it was so sad.
Wonder if she had a bad day at work, or maybe her boyfriend broke up with her. No, I'm just
Nope, 119 people died. That's what happened.
I'm just researching. Oh my god.
70 years ago.
Hey, I cried. Sometimes it doesn't matter how long ago something happened. There's like a large scale to it. But then sometimes the smaller things that happened a long time ago, there's like some light you can find in it. It's weird. True crime is weird, guys.
It is weird.
But amazing job. Hopefully what happened on this day isn't as upsetting.
So I decided to find something that was a little more fun. Today is November 8th.
Okay.
Last week I did the thing where I told you all the different holidays that are celebrated today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that, but then I'm going to dig into one of them. So today is Election Day, by the way. Go fucking vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not an American, but thank you.
Right. It's also National STEM Day. It is National Cappuccino Day.
Go get yourself a cappuccino.
It is National Parents as Teachers Day. We all feel like teachers all the time. It's National Cook Something Bold and Pungent Day. I don't understand, but okay.
If you cook something, let us know what you cook.
Yes.
That will know you listened to the end of the episode.
Yep. It is also the best one, National Dunce Day. And I wanted to say this because I was today years old when I found out what dunce meant.
Oh.
Or where it originated.
Yeah.
I know that dunce is like an insult. I know that the dunce cap is the triangle hat that you have to wear on your head when you're being dumb. So
what the fuck? Who created that rule, by the way?
Here it is.
Separate problem. Oh, that's what you're going into.
So today is the death anniversary of the Scottish philosopher John Duns Scotus.
Okay.
He had very strange views. Some of them were genius. Some of them were quote unquote downright laughable.
Okay.
One of the beliefs that he had was that a cone-shaped hat increased your learning potential.
Does it, though? Sir?
It doesn't. And that is why whenever you did something that was downright laughable and people wanted to make fun of you, they made you wear the dunce cap.
Stop.
The cone-shaped hat of shame.
Stop it.
Yep.
I don't know what to do
with this. It's amazing and sad and definitely bullying. Don't do that.
No, like that's like arguably worse than like when teachers used to be able to hit you with a ruler.
Well, the funny thing that you say about teachers, dunce caps were still permitted as late as the 1950s in American schools.
No.
So whenever the
Really?
teacher thought the child was being dumb, they would make them wear a dunce hat in school.
No!
How fucking awful is that?
Stop
Humans
it.
suck. Humans are awful.
Oh. Yeah, you can't do
It's
that.
so mean.
Think about how insecure kids are like now. Can you imagine
and
if
those
you
poor
grew up
kids
in an
don't
area-
even know what it means. They're just like, oh, you're just making fun of me.
You're
Like, what
putting
the
a
fuck?
stupid hat on me. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
So, I was today years old when I learned that, Googling this on this day. So, I needed to make sure all of you knew that as well.
You learned something at the beginning of the episode and at the end of the episode.
There you go.
Should we change it to a All Things Twisted / educational podcast?
We are infotainment.
There you go.
Edutainment?
Edutainment.
Edutainment.
It's a good time. Holy shit, though. Well, on that note, you should definitely go leave us a 5-star rating and review for Sierra's Drama. And reminder, you get entered to win a free month of Patreon, which is lots of fun. And you will never run out of content. I guarantee you won't finish it in a month. Challenge accepted. And you should definitely go and check out our social media and follow us there if you're not already. Check out our website where you will find all of the links and horrible photos for this. Sorry, horrible yet admirable photos for today's episode that Sierra shared.
Hey, it won a Pulitzer Prize.
It did.
Okay.
What is that, by the way? Is that like a...
It's kind of like a Nobel Prize, except for art.
For art. All right.
Yeah.
I respect it. And we will see you guys next week for the last of our round before we get into our special topic and
Well, what about my
killing.
episode?
Yeah, like last of our rounds. Like we each have an episode before that.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean.
Well, next week is yours. The next week after that is mine.
Yeah, but I'm
then
giving
we get
the
into it.
people plenty of time to suggest a special topic.
Yes, please suggest a special topic ASAP.
If not, we will choose for some of our own for you guys to vote on or let our listeners on social media decide. But yeah, we love you guys lots. Thank you so much for listening as always. We could do the show without you, but it wouldn't be nearly as fun. And in the meantime, go and pay your respects to this beautiful hotel if you live in Atlanta. And keep it twisted. Thank you for listening to Twisted and Uncorked Podcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can also check out all of our sources and materials, as well as photos for the episode, on our website at twistedanduncorked.com. And you can follow us on social media at Twisted and Uncorked or Twisted_pod on Twitter. Thank you so much for all of your love and support, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode. Cheers!